All right, moving on now. France plays a strategic role in Nigeria's development. With over 100 French companies contributing to the local economy and providing more than 10,000 direct jobs, Nigeria stands as France's leading trading partner in sub-Saharan Africa and ranks the fourth largest trading partner in Africa, following Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia. Remarkably, Nigeria accounts for approximately 20% of France's trade and within the sub-Saharan Africa. Nigeria exports to France, which surged to about 3.9 trillion naira. That's approximately 2.4 billion US dollars. That's in the first half of 2024, solidifying France's position as Nigeria's top export destination amongst single countries. Mr. Guillaume Nafix is the president of Franco Nigeria Chamber of Commerce and Industry. He's live in the studio to join this conversation. Good afternoon. It's your first time on the show. Thank you for being here.
Good afternoon, Tolu. Thank you for having me.
Well, I think it's good to start with a bit of history. What's been happening between Nigeria and France? What's your understanding of that relationship before we go into President Tinubu's visit and the positives from that?
Well, I think the relationship within the two countries have been remarkably growing over the last few years. I mean, France has been originally and historically a big trading partner of Nigeria.
Yes.
But more so, I mean, Nigeria is, as you said, 20% of the trade of France in sub-Saharan Africa, so it's a very significant partners. We're talking of $2.5 billion in half a year. As you know, Forex is coming from foreign trade, right? So it's actually very significant, and it has grown a lot. And if we can tell, the last month, the month of November, was basically the month of France and Nigeria. We have had an amazing month with the French Week the Economic Summit, in partnership with the Franco-Nigerian Business Council, chairman by Ike Bode, Ike Imukade.
Yes, you got that.
With Mr. Abdul Saman Rabiu, Mr. Dangote, John Kumanteros, investing Tony Elumelu, Gilbert Chagouri. Everybody was there because France is the main partner. And it, of course, culminated into the state visit of the President Tinubu in France, which is the highest level of diplomatic relationship between two countries. So it's very significant.
Really significant. I'd like us to move a bit further and look at those ways we can strengthen these ties before we now, or look at the implications of this visit. It was really very important, looking at the start to finish, all sectors were touched. I like the deals with the mining industry, infrastructure, and all of that. But what do you think about the implication of this moving forward?
Well, I think first we're very lucky at this moment. You know that our French president, Emmanuel Macron, was a training in Nigeria something like 20 years ago and developed close tie with the country. So he's today pushing a lot the relationship, and it's very good for us. We've seen Nigerian bank investing in France. Recently, Access and Zenith have opened branches in Paris, which is a very clear KPI of the need for trade between the two countries. It means that people are there. We need to have banking sector to make it easy. The AFD actually invested 300 million euro and with the Nigerian government to fund energy, agriculture, healthcare, and education under the Renewed Hope agenda. It's very significant. And there's also, I know, a lot of other investment and MOU signed in the mining sector on lithium and cobalt. But we also see traditional business in energy, like Total Energies, for example, investing billions of dollars in the countries. And this is unheard of. The last 10, 12 years, there was almost no investment. So it's very, I'd say it's very good KPI. It's very, it's making us look brightly into the future,
I get that.
I'd say.
I get that. Now, particularly some sectors, I'm looking at transfer of knowledge from your country to Nigeria. Many talk about this bilateral relations, but I'm also looking at how we can share knowledge, technological advancement. How can we help each other in this respect?
Well, I think we're all very lucky. Somehow, let's see the glass half full. There is a lot of room for improvement.
Oh, really?
In technology, in infrastructure, in education in Nigeria. And we're lucky in France to have this kind of knowledge, this kind of content. So there's a lot of partnerships that are being signed to actually bring content, bring knowledge and technology to Nigeria to cover that gap, I would say, through partnership and through JVs. There is no doubt that the topic of education, renewable energy, training is a key topic. And a lot of the companies, also French companies present in Nigeria, you said it before, we have over 100 French companies in Nigeria, over 10,000 direct jobs, but countless indirect jobs. SPIE Energy only, where I work, SPIE Global Services Energy, has over 1,000 jobs here. I'm sure Total Energy is even more. And most of these companies are investing heavily in training. We built a very large training center in Rivers. I know that Total Energy is using several training centers in the Delta. Companies like Vinci, Ponticelli are also investing heavily in training. I think we are all committed to see the level of local competency increase for the benefit of everyone. Of course, you have, I think, 50% of your population between being under 15 or 16 years old, so that creates a very large need for education. I think it's our joint responsibility to grow in that sector.
Interesting. And Nigeria has moved away from that perception of always wanting to seek for financial support. Like you said, now we want partners. Nigeria has a lot to offer. Our president is out there saying, come into Nigeria, the market is opened for business, building sustainable businesses and all of that. Considering the challenges we face, you are aware, you come in and you see what we face, FX issues and all of that. How do you think, I know your chamber, you've been doing a lot educating CEOs, CFOs and all of that, but generally, what do you make of the environment? How do you see people trying to wade through? How are we getting along considering these reforms?
Well, I think I'm not going to say everything's perfect in Nigeria, and there's a significant amount of uncertainty and risk. However, clearly the upside beats the downside every time for FDI, foreign direct investment, sorry. And today in Nigeria, there is, as I said, a lot of gap to be covered. Technology can cover them. Lately, over the last 18 months, we have seen new laws and new regulation coming that actually makes it much more interesting to do business, because one of the main issue is the uncertainty around regulation.
Yeah.
So once you stabilized a very clear rule of the game for the business, you get people to invest, you get people to actually be able to have a long-term view on what they will do, and that's how you get FDI, and that's how, I mean, again, there's a lot of money to be made here jointly. As you said, Nigeria is not asking for money or help.
Yes.
There is a lot of things to be done. Let's develop it together.
Back to that bilateral relations and collaboratives, can we look at how some companies, even some French companies operating here, how are they faring, and also Nigerian companies over there?
Well, I think we've built, I mean, a company like mine, but a company like most of the people involved in energy, in infrastructure, we've built
a lot.
Very strong partnership, and very strong, and I'm using partnership as a very key word because it's not one-sided. You know, in the past, maybe 30, 40 years ago, we had like representative here, like a foreign company, not only French, but foreign company were coming, having a local representative or a local partner who was not bringing a lot of value, and nothing else was done. Today, that's not true anymore. There is a real joint value creation with usually the most of the company being indigenous, meaning more than 50% is owned locally, and I mean, in companies like ours, in our energy sectors, 90, 92, 95% of the workforce is Nigerian, extremely educated, extremely skilled. Actually, we also export Nigerian workers. We send them within the region to Angola, to Ghana, to Ivory Coast, Senegal, but also to Europe, to Denmark, to France, because the Nigerian workforce is extremely skilled, extremely motivated, and I think, in my opinion, ready to take over the world.
That's a good one. I'm proud to be a Nigerian. But all the same, you talked about energy. I think you operate in that energy space and you know what we face in Nigeria regarding energy. I just like your overview around that. You know, it's just to get your knowledge and your views around this. We've had serious challenges around grid collapses, you know, looking for other options of energy. What's your advice? What do you think is the way out? Let me seek to get your views.
Let's first separate the topic of mineral resources, oil and gas, and energy as electricity in the country.
Okay.
Call me over-optimistic, but I think it's a very, very interesting period to be in the energy sector here and energy production. It's true, the grid is failing. Today, energy distribution is not very well organized. However, it creates a lot of opportunity for renewable energy. Mini-grid, off-grid production. We have seen a lot of renewable energy company thriving in the country. I'm talking of Daystar Power, but also others, other ventures in the sun environment. Even us at SPIE Global Service Energy, we are actually installing a lot of solar. It answered to most of the need. You know, all these, let's say, gaps or failing topics can always be turned into opportunities for businessmen. And as you know, there's no better businessman than a Nigerian. So they see opportunities.
They see opportunities everywhere. You know, when we talk about businesses, partnership, and all of that, continuity of these businesses is also something that is very important. Some will say that if so person is not there, this business is almost going off the grid. Now, what do you think also, or what do you think you can advise business leaders so that we have that continuity? I know you've had lectures around sustainability, continuity of businesses, particularly at this critical time where companies are managing. Some are just trying to pay salaries and stay afloat. Profit is not even very much as it used to be.
Of course, we're going through a difficult patch, a rough patch even. A lot of companies have difficulty to project themselves over 3-6 months.
Yes.
It is the truth. And it's totally about the balance between solving the short term and also bringing on the long term. I think the new policy and the current approach of the authorities is actually giving us a renewed hope in the business. I heard the President Tinubu saying that Nigerians were living under a fake life under the subsidy before. I mean, we can like or not the way he's telling it, but it's true. I mean, before it didn't make sense economically. At least now it makes sense. So we'll be able to grow something, to grow with good basis and actually grow a business from that. Okay, we have had a lot of devaluation. Salaries are very low. It's a very difficult period, but it creates an opportunity, the opportunity of producing at a very low cost, and then exporting, and then getting forex in, and building a new period of prosperity for everyone. And I think France can help, by the way, if you can get back on the French topic, by bringing technology, bringing know-how, helping to train, and that's what we're here for.
Also healthcare, transportation, I think you're doing so pretty well there.
Of course.
Where can we tap before we move to future collaborations? Can we tap into that space too? Transportation and health services.
Of course. I think a lot of, recently in the last few weeks, a lot of partnerships from between French organization and Nigerian government or private organization into healthcare. It's a very important topic for us. As you know, we have the best healthcare in the world and it's free, so we have something to say about it. In training, you need a lot of training, of course, in the healthcare sector, but also in transportation, smart city. I know that there's a plan to actually make partnership with the Lagos state to help traffic and beat the go-slow. It is today a very big topic. If we have people moving around Lagos, they need to move efficiently at an affordable cost, and I think France can help there.
Interesting stuff. Let's now look at future collaborations. Nigeria, France set to deepen collaborations. The emerging sectors. Now, we now have the Ministry of Blue Economy.
Yeah.
We're headed by Adegoyiga Oyetola, former governor of Osun State. We have Solid Minerals headed by Dr. Dele Alake. A lot of work is going on in that space. We see agreements being signed day in, day out with regards to mineral development. And tech, which we've been talking about all the way. What's your thought, or what are your thoughts around future partnership, and what are your expectations if we leverage on all of these opportunities we have?
Well, I think, yeah, of course. I mean, future opportunities around blue economy, solid minerals, technology are there.
Yes.
And I think that's the low-hanging fruits because everybody's, there's a lot of buzz around it, right? And I think it's going to go there. We are seeing future partnership going together, JV being formed, innovative technology expertise being shared. But I think we should not also forget about some more traditional sectors like the education, the healthcare, the renewable energy, even refinery. There's a French company who is designing a refinery in Akwa Ibom.
Wow.
Not as big as the one we have here in Lagos from Mr. Dangote, but very close. Organizing training, companies like AXA, Danone has been investing, Electric is investing, and that's technology electrical.
Yeah.
So I think we should not also forget these sectors, including the infrastructures, because there's a lot. I was sitting with the Minister of Infrastructure not so long ago, telling me about how it is important. We're making roads to the south here, we're making roads to the north. France can help also on the topic of bridges, for example, and the difficult part of the infrastructure. If you talk of the agribusiness, I know we have a very big problem in Nigeria currently to actually source very high quality crops. It happens that two of the best crop companies in the world are French. So I think there's a lot of future for all of us.
So there's a lot to tap from this. Are you worried about geopolitical issues, how they will affect the business world moving forward?
I think it's worldwide a very scary moment. And I think it creates a lot of uncertainty, which is never good for business.
Yeah, it's not.
However, let's see, once again, the glass half full. Two things. First of all, in Nigeria, we're used to being flexible and adapt to the situation. So we are probably in the best place to react to whatever is happening. And I think it's our responsibility as business leader to focus on the business, find solution, and basically let the politicians run their own business.
Indeed, I like that. We face the business and let the politicians. I must thank you, Guillaume Nafex. He is the president of the Franco-Nigeria Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Thank you so much. Let me get a handshake. Good to have you here. Hope to see you again soon. We look at all of this developmental signings and see how it starts to trickle in. We are the business journalists here. We'll monitor where the Naira and Kobo comes in, and we can analyze them further. Hope you'll be here to do that.
I'll be happy, and thank you for having me.
All right, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Well, coming up on the show,